Hello, everybody. I'm Muqtadar Khan. I'm a professor of international relations at the University of Delaware. I'm the Khan of Khanversations, and today I'm going to talk to you about something very interesting that has happened. Both the New Zealand and the English cricket boards have cancelled their tours of Pakistan. And this has happened under extremely interesting circumstances for a student of international relations, but it's rather tragic for Pakistan, particularly because it undermines Pakistan's cricket and has caused tremendous financial damage to Pakistan cricket. It also has raised doubt about playing cricket in Pakistan, and therefore I understand that the Pakistani fans as well as Pakistani cricket authorities are really very upset. What really happened is that New Zealand, after 18 years, was touring Pakistan for the first time. It sent a second string team because all its stars were scheduled to play in the IPL in the Gulf. But nevertheless, it was an international tour by New Zealand. And then just a few minutes before the game started, or about an hour or so, it was announced that New Zealand had cancelled its entire tour, not just the match, but the entire tour, claiming that there was actionable intelligence, that there was a threat to New Zealand's cricket team. And of course, all hell broke loose. Pakistani fans, Pakistani authorities, Pakistani commentators accused New Zealand of conspiring to destroy Pakistan cricket, of undermining Pakistan, and so on and so forth. But the facts are interesting, and the most interesting part to me is that ultimately New Zealand cricket authorities said that the intelligence about the imminent threat was coming from Five Eyes, and I will talk about it in some detail as I explain why that is interesting. But the first thing that I want to do is I do want to dissuade you about the conspiracies. The conspiracy that this is the West trying to punish Pakistan for helping the Taliban conquer Afghanistan. I think that's too far-fetched. Yes, the West is profoundly upset, particularly the US, with the role that Pakistan has played in Afghanistan. There will be a reckoning, no doubt about it, but it's not going to come in terms of undermining Pakistani cricket. It's going to really come in terms of undermining US relations with Pakistan to a great extent. The second thing is this conspiracy that it is perhaps India that is trying to undermine Pakistan and Pakistani cricket. I find that also a bit far-fetched. I find that Pakistan playing a second string New Zealand before the World Cup as preparation for World Cup would be in the interest of all other countries. I mean, they would be happy if Pakistan is going to make its World Cup decision based on performances against a second string New Zealand. So I really don't think that these conspiracies are valid. There are two interesting questions as to why did the intelligence come from the Five Eyes sources, and what does it really mean? So what I want you to understand is that since World War II, 5 English-speaking democracies, US, Canada, Great Britain, Australia, and New Zealand, have been sharing intelligence. They shared intelligence in World War II and subsequently every time there was a major crisis. This intelligence sharing is routine among Western countries. And especially after 9/11, it was ramped up. But what is interesting about this is that the Five Eyes are also highly high-tech. So there's a lot of digital surveillance data that is shared among the 5 countries. Sometimes it becomes 6, that includes France. Sometimes it becomes 8, including Germany and other countries. Some of this information is also shared with Israel, obviously. So it is quite possible that one of these Five Eyes countries, probably Britain or US, and most likely the US, is surveilling and monitoring all the telecommunications by Pakistani leadership, as well as prominent Pakistanis and Afghanistani leaders who have close ties not just with Taliban, but Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and other extremist groups in Pakistan. So one of these intelligence agency has interrupted a telephone conversation or some other email or something other than something between an important person either in Pakistan or Afghanistan, in which there was some kind of a reference to the New Zealand cricket tour. So that would have flagged and created an alert, and that intelligence would have shared. Now, the New Zealand Cricket Board probably does not even know what the actual content of the intelligence is, but the New Zealand government does. And I don't think the New Zealand government is going to come out and say, well, we were, spying on your foreign minister, and then in his conversations, the foreign minister expressed worry that the Pakistani intelligence had discovered that there was a threat to the New Zealand cricket team, or something of that sort. I don't want to speculate what the content of the intelligence was, but the very fact that such an intelligence exists clearly shows that the countries of Five Eyes are clearly spying on Pakistanis, prominent Pakistanis, as well as prominent Afghans, and they should be. It is in their national interest to do so. I also suspect that because of the role that Pakistani intelligence has played in the success of Taliban in Afghanistan, Western countries are not really confident of any intelligence input to them from Pakistani intelligence sources. So this idea that, well, Pakistani intelligence sources did not detect any threat is not a credible thing to a country like New Zealand, England, or for that matter, the United States. If you remember, when the United States went and killed bin Laden in Abbottabad, they did not share intelligence with Pakistani government or the Pakistani military or Pakistani intelligence because they were afraid that bin Laden would be tipped off if people in the Pakistani establishment came to know about it. So that perception that the Pakistani establishment is in cahoots with some of these extremist groups is very strongly ingrained in Western foreign policy thinking, and therefore I'm not surprised that there was no intelligence sharing with the Pakistani government and Pakistani elite. And obviously, because the intelligence is coming from Five Eyes, Great Britain and the English cricket team would also be aware of it. Now, the thing is, how serious is that intelligence? That is the key question, I think, for Pakistani fans to understand. What you are demanding of New Zealand really is that if there is a threat, let's say on a scale of 0 to 10, 2 or 3, 10 being definitely there's going to be an attack, 0 unlikely that there will be an attack. So if it is 3 or 4, you want New Zealand to take that risk and play cricket so that Pakistani cricket may thrive. So basically, you're asking New Zealand to risk its athletes and its citizens in order to serve a Pakistani national or sporting interest. That is, I think, quite unfair. And I think that any and every country should necessarily err on the side of wisdom and precaution whenever there is a threat of this nature. So the question really is has New Zealand overreacted? Was it just 1 or 2? That we don't know, and we cannot make that judgment until we see the intel itself, which I can assure you is, if it's coming from Five Eyes, and if it's coming in the manner in which I suspect it is, then I don't think the public will ever know what the actual intel was. So that is my take on this geopolitics of cricket and geopolitics of intelligence. It's a tragedy that geopolitics tends to undermine sports, but that is the reality of the world we live in. When Pakistan chose to align itself so closely with the Taliban, they became a revisionist state. They're trying to alter the geopolitics and the power politics of its region and also the globe, and there are going to be consequences to that. This is Muqtadar Khan for Khanversations. If you liked it, please like the video, share it with your colleagues, and subscribe to this channel. I'm Muqtadar Khan. Take care.